What's going on, y'all? We are still in Maine. I know, right? I mean, there's pluses and minuses to that, but yeah, we're still in Maine. This is just kind of a simple little update to kind of give you a little bit of detail about what's going on with us, why we're still here, how we were able to stay here, and how that all works. So the deal is, this is a Thousand Trails Park. We have actually adjusted this reservation now 3 times, I believe. We originally were supposed to arrive in here on a Sunday and have like 2 filler days somewhere else before we got here, and it decided that didn't want to go that route. So I I used the online chat with the Thousand Trails website and was able to actually get in here 2 days earlier. Now, when we originally booked this reservation, that time wasn't as available. Things began to open up, and I'll get back to why that is here in a little bit. So we came in here 2 days early. Now, while we are here, if you've been watching our videos, you'll know that we've had a lot of problems with our auto leveling system, and it can become very frustrating. So when we were supposed to leave here, we were supposed to go do just 2 days at a Trails Collection Thousand Trails Park. It's like an add-on kind of thing, not one of the normal Thousand Trails. We were gonna do 2 days at one in New Hampshire, just so we could kind of be like, check the boxes that we self-identified as to how we can qualify to get a sticker on the RV. That was a lot of words to connect the dots, wasn't it? We had basically made our own rules for how we can apply a sticker to the RV, and in those rules was stay at least 1 night in a state, as well as do some things in that state in order to qualify. Real life hitting the road kind of changes things over the rules that you self-impose on yourself. So being frustrated with the auto leveling system.
Hi.
Which, by the way, here in Antarctica, Maine, it's up to a whopping 60 degrees today, but it's already beginning to drop.
It's not cold.
Go find your friends and play before your time runs out. People have been knocking on the door all day for her, and she hasn't been available, and she just now came out so she can go play. Hopefully she can find her friends. Anyway, back to where I was talking. So yeah, in our minds, stay at least 1 night in a state. That way you can check the box to put a sticker on your RV that you were in that state. But now real life sets in. The auto leveling system is just driving me nuts. And the thought of starting to like make all these fast stops is really wearing me out. And so it's like, let's just stay here 2 more nights. I'll work on trying to fix the auto leveling system, which I've put in a lot of effort. There's a couple of videos that came out recently about that. So we extended by 2 more days. So we were supposed to check out on Sunday. Now that would have been what you saw the video. If you watched yesterday's video where we took an Amtrak train to Boston, that should have been a travel day for us to go down to the Thousand Trails Gateway to Cape Cod. The night before, I'm talking with the father of one of Kira's friends. He's saying that was the last park he came from. So they don't have cement slab sites. They don't even have gravel sites. They have dirt, just dirt everywhere. He was generally afraid of getting stuck in the mud at that park. And he said, you should be fine as long as it's not raining. I pull up my weather app, and pretty much from the existing point while I was being rained on at that very moment to this next coming Friday, it's just nonstop rain, really in this general area. It let up a little bit here in Maine, but down in Massachusetts it's still raining, and they're now under flood advisories. So this was late Saturday night that I heard this. I'm like, I think I want to change this again. Now I can stay in a park up to 3 weeks, which means I could stay up until this coming Friday at this park and be within my normal time frame. I tried making an adjustment myself on the website, and it wouldn't allow it. It threw some rule that I was breaking, which I don't know. It didn't make a lot of sense to me. So then I wanted to chat with somebody, but they didn't open until 9:30 on Sunday morning. So I went to sleep with this unknown factor that I may have to get up in the morning, hitch up and leave, and drive into possible flood and muddy conditions, or hopefully change it and extend here. Because there's actually sites available. Our neighbors are gone now. This was a Class A had been here for the last 2 weeks, and they took off yesterday. There's plenty of sites available at this park. And like I said, I'll get to that in a little bit here. So thankfully, right after 9:30, I was able to get on and chat with Joanna at the Thousand Trails office that handles reservations. And I was laughing because I think the last 3 times I've talked to Joanna, and I told her that. I said, that's kind of funny. She goes, the funniest part is she hardly ever does the online chat. So that was kind of interesting, but she's been super nice, super helpful, and she was able to extend us till Friday and then push our check-in to Gateway to Cape Cod down to just 2 days. So that is why we are still here. That is some of the advantages of Thousand Trails. So one of the other advantages here, something that I was annoyed by at first, and now I'm more understanding. Especially, this started when we first started really having a problem with the auto level. The realization that if you have equipment failure and you need to extend your stay at a Thousand Trails park, it's okay. There's no one coming for this site because they don't reserve specific sites. That is a positive. So I wanted to convey that to you all because it's a positive. From the outside looking in, never working with it before, being someone that always knew exactly where I was going to stay and knew that I could reserve my exact spot and know what I was expecting, that's a nice luxury that can come at a cost. But to be in these spots, sure, I'm not always going to get the perfect spot. This was a really good spot for us. I'm not always going to get the perfect spot. But the fact that I've wanted to stay longer, there's no requirement that I now have to pick up and move because someone else has reserved that spot on a set day. So if you have equipment failure and you need to stay a little bit longer, there's no requirement like, oh, you're going to have to move because somebody else is coming into that spot. Or, I mean, sometimes you might get the staff is really nice and start working with the other people to move people around so that you don't have to move, but it's just a little bit easier at the Thousand Trails. So that's just kind of a positive, a pro for the whole Thousand Trails thing. That as well as the kids having lots of friends to play with. It was amazing how that worked out. That I went to go talk to the father of the friend of Kira. That he conveyed the information to me that you going to that spot in Massachusetts may not be the best situation for you. Just all kind of went together. Tanya and I always say that is God's hand on our lives, moving the pieces in the right way so that everything blends together the way that it should so that it works out better. So let me go into a little bit of detail about why this park, the Moody Beach Thousand Trails, will have a little bit of availability now, whereas several months ago it didn't have all this availability. This is one of the official Thousand Trails parks. I believe there's about 81 of them. That if you have an Elite Connections or an Adventure Pass, you can book this park 180 days in advance. Now, if you have the Trails Collection add-on, there are more parks in Maine other than just this one. I think there's 4, some of them all the way up by Acadia. If you have Elite Connections, you can book those 60 days in advance. If you have an Adventure Pass with the Trails Collection Plus, you can book them at 90 days in advance. So what's happening with this park, this is the little insider tip that's going on with Thousand Trails members. They're booking this one at 180 days to guarantee their access into Maine with a place to stay without having to pay extra because they're already Thousand Trails members. Then when they get down to that 60-day window for Elite Connections or 90-day window for the Adventure Pass members, then they start booking those Encore or Trails Collection parks that are closer to the things they wanted to go to. And when they do that, then they cancel here. And that's where all this availability just starts freeing up here at the Moody Beach, at the regular Thousand Trails Park. There you go. And that's how, it's one of the ways that some of these members are working the system. Our family isn't somebody that goes to seek out to see all the national parks. In fact, we don't even have a huge reason or desire to go see national parks, whereas that will make us quite a bit different than the rest of y'all. There's nothing wrong with you going to venture out to see national parks. They're awesome, they're amazing, and we totally encourage you to go do so. For us, that's just not our jam. We like state parks, city parks. We also like visiting family. And there's all kinds of other fun things to do, like take Amtrak trains down to Boston and explore a major city. This country is full of amazing things to see. And don't worry about it. If I don't go to a national park, that's four less people that you have to worry about getting into the national park before you. Huzzah! We still would like to see some of them someday. Kira has Yellowstone on her bucket list, so at some point we are going to work on trying to get her in there to see that. But we're not the type of family where we want to check off every national park. It's great if you do. We totally support you doing that, and we would love to hear and see about your adventures to go to see all the national parks. But if you'd like to hear more about our little adventure where we rode an Amtrak train to Boston, you can check out that video right here. It was a lot of fun. We had a blast. The girls really enjoyed it. I couldn't believe how excited they were to go. So thank you all so much for watching our video. We hope that you have a wonderful week. Remember that life happens, even reasons to have to extend your stay somewhere. Don't let it stop you. Stay fresh, cheese bags.